If you're like me and you're doing a lot of cutouts, you're definitely going to need a Bee Vac to make it easy and fast. And I wanted to show you a Bee Vac that I put together that is under $50. It doesn't take that long to make. It's easy and it works great. I've been on a number of cutouts and I've used this several times, and it's been totally successful. So let me show you the pieces to this and show you how to put it together so that you too can use a Bee Vac. If you haven't been using one so far, you're going to love it. Fortunately, the vacuum part is real cheap and it's very easy to find. Home Depot has this, it's called a bucket head. It's this head here that sits on a 5-gallon bucket. It snaps on, and so you need a 5-gallon bucket to put the head on. And once you get it on, then you just put your hose, and then it'll go into your vacuum chamber over here. But this only costs $25, and it's a very good and very powerful shop vac. The hose comes with it, and you're going to need to build. This is the part that's going to require a little time for you, which is the vacuum area. And there's 2 buckets involved with this. One that has the suction and the other that contains the bees. So let me start out and show you the suction side, which is very quick and easy to build. The bee bucket is a little more involved. So let me show you the vacuum bucket. Okay, well, the vacuum bucket actually just has a few parts to it to complete it. Of course, this is the hose coming from the Bee Vac, the shop vac, and you're going to need to put a little tape around here to make it securely fastened into your adapter there. But the only parts that are in this bucket here, as you can see from the inside, is just this adapter. And this is a 1.5-inch male adapter threaded, and then I bought some of these washers off Amazon. You can see what to get there. They're 1-inch oversized union washers, and of course this will fit over here to seal it off. And then I bought these are conduit lock nuts. They go on typically conduit, but that's what you're going to tighten it down on the inside. And you can see how it goes through a hole. You're going to cut about a 1.25-inch hole with a hole saw. I used just a regular hole saw, but I think you might even be able to find a spade bit that'll do 1.25-inch. Mine are 1 1/8 inches, about the biggest spade bit I have, but I did have a 1.25-inch hole saw that cut that hole. Then you can put this through, and then you secure it on the inside, as you can see, with the lock nut, and that'll take care of your vacuum bucket. And then you're going to put some electric tape on here, just enough to where you can shove this in and it's securely in there and won't leak. Here's the bee bucket. This is the receiver for your bees, and that's why I've got actually put screens in both sides of this bucket. Cut holes and put screen. And the kind of screen that I use, because it just doesn't tear, is this pet screen. You can get that at Home Depot, and it's really tough and it's not going to tear. You do not want that thing tearing on anything and letting all the bees out. So you want something like pet screen to give them the air that they need, but also to secure them to where they weren't going to be coming out at you. And the way I put it in is I sew it in, as you can see, with fishing line. Just put a bunch of little holes and then just sew it in, because I do not want that stuff coming loose. And good fishing line will sew it in there tight and keep it there. The other thing I do, as you can see on the other side, is I tape it over with some good duct tape, and that way it also secures it and keeps any gaps that might be in the screen from causing a problem. The bees are going to need air as soon as you take it out of the bucket. Then they're going to need air, and that's why you have that screen there. The other thing is, typically this is in the summer and it gets hot, and they're going to be able to need circulation, or you're going to overheat your bees and kill them. Now when the when the bees come into the bucket, they're coming in at pretty good velocity because of the vacuum. And one of the things that some people have, in fact most people who've unfortunately not done this, found was that when the bees come in, they're coming at such velocity, if they hit a hard surface, they're going to kill them. So you end up with a whole bunch of dead bees that came just because they got killed with impact. So what I did is I got some foam, some thin foam, and then I put a grocery bag over it to make sure that the bees didn't get caught up in the foam. You know, their legs and such, you know, will catch into that foam. But in this slick kind of plastic material, that won't happen. And this provides the cushion, so when they hit that cushion, they won't be dying. And again, to secure that to the bottom, so that when I turn this thing over, that doesn't come down on them. I've glued it to the bottom with some good glue, and so you want to make sure that you secure that to the bottom of the bucket, so that when you do turn it over to get your bees out, that bottom isn't coming down on top of them. The other thing that you need to do on this part of the bucket is you need to seal it here. Because what's happening is you're creating a vacuum between your vacuum bucket and the bee bucket to be able to get the suction that you need to get the bees in. And so this seam right here needs to be airtight. Now the way I got that done is I got some half-inch, I think it's half-inch by 3/8 inch weather stripping. And then I glued it. You could probably use silicone glue. I use that a lot, but it seems like it looks like I didn't use it on this one. This stuff will work, but glue that weather stripping all the way around. Make sure that when the ends meet, you don't have a gap there, because you really do need that suction, and this will provide that for you. So pretty easy to do, but it definitely will make sure that the vacuum that you need is accomplished by the weather stripping in there. And then the top. This is, of course, where the bees are going to be coming in. And you're going to need to have, what I did is I have an old hose that had some leaks in it off my swimming pool. And so this swimming pool hose provides just about the right kind of material that you need for your Bee Vac. And it's a 1.5 inch ID and about a 2 inch OD. So if you put some tape around it, it'll get secure in a 2 inch collar there. And so you're going to need a pipe. Just 1 second. Okay, so you're going to have to secure a 1.5 inch ID PVC pipe into this, and also, of course, this has to be vacuum, and therefore it has to be airtight. And I can get this off with one hand. Okay, and what I bought for this was, it's actually a plumbing adapter, a drain adapter, and here's a picture of it at Home Depot. But you could just use, and I might have done that had it been available at the time when I was shopping around, has the same kind of threaded for a 1.5 inch pipe as you have here for your 1 inch pipe that comes into your vacuum bucket. And you could have a 1.5 inch, you put that through, maybe seal it with silicone or something like that there, and then also put one of these, secure it in there with a 1.5 inch conduit lock nut. That would work. I did it with this drain adapter here, And the way I did it is I put the male piece through the lid, and then the problem with this one is, just a second. Okay, I don't have anybody to help me. It looks like everything has to be done with one hand. Anyway, you can see that the male adapter is going through the lid, and the nut piece unfortunately has this lip in here, so it can't go all the way down and tighten it to the lid. So what I did, I just ended up having a snap ring that goes onto a shower curtain rod, and that provides just about the right spacing to where I can secure that down to the lid. It doesn't have to be totally airtight, but it's pretty close just by tightening it down on that. But again, you could just get this same male adapter, PVC 1.5 inch threaded male adapter. Maybe you could find a washer that would go on the other side, and then you would lock it down with your conduit 1.5 inch lock nut, and that'll be it. As I said, it's going to be pretty fast to make, and it's going to be very cheap. The bucket head is only about $25. The 3 buckets I would suggest getting at Walmart. They're under $3 a piece. You're going to need an easy off lid. They're also at Walmart for about $1.50 a piece. And I made 2 of these receptacles, these buckets, bee buckets. And the reason is because if I go out, and I've had this happen actually a couple of times, where there's so many bees in there that I will fill a bucket up. And I worry that I'm going to be killing bees because they're so crowded and packed in there that I'm killing them. So I've made another one of these buckets so that I'll get about half the bees. Then I'll pull this bucket out full of bees, and I'll get my other bucket, slip it in. It's empty, of course. And get the other half of the bees, and now I've got 2 buckets of bees when I leave there. Be sure and pull it out of here when you've got your bees in there and you're through vacuuming, so that the bees have the ventilation they need and the cooling they need to stay alive. But I think you're going to find that this is probably about the cheapest and the easiest Bee Vac. I've watched a lot of those videos that are on YouTube, and all of them seem to have good points and bad points, and I tried to take all the good points and the easy points and put them all together into one build. And I have definitely field tested this system a number of times, both on huge swarms that are so much that I couldn't get the branch, and I just vacuumed them off and then took them home and hived the bees that way. And one thing I would suggest, this is just an aside, if you're going to go out and you're going to, especially catching swarms where you don't have any comb to put in there to hold them, and you've just got a swarm in there with just some empty frames, is definitely put on a queen excluder on the front. Leave it on for a couple of days. Not more than a couple of days, because they might have a virgin queen in there and she needs to go out and mate. But a couple of days just to hold them in there. I've had occasions where I've caught a swarm, and I have actually seen them try to swarm out of the hive, and they couldn't get the queen out because I had put a queen excluder on the entrance. You could put a queen excluder, a full queen excluder between the bottom board and your box, but I want to be able to take that off without disturbing them too much, so I just put it over the entrance, and then I can just remove that when I feel like, okay, they're secure and I want to get that queen out of there if she needs to be. So anyway, this is the build, and good luck with everything. Oh, I did forget one thing. Of course, when you take this off, you don't want the bees flying back out of that hole. So you just get a cap for this, and it'll fit over there, and then that's the way you secure it. So be sure and take some caps with you so that you can get your bee bucket out and not have bees coming out after you've pulled your hose off.